Hi, I'm Tanya Busikat, and today is day 77 of the Richmond Public Library's 100 Days RVA Reads, a program promoting PBS and CVE, the Great American Read. Today I am at Virginia Union University in Richmond, Virginia. I chose this historically black university due to its rich history, as it was founded in Lumpkin's Jail in 1865. Specifically, we are on my favorite spot on campus. We are on the porch of Kingsley Hall, the location of the Samuel DeWitt Proctor School of Theology at Virginia Union, formerly established in 1941, my alma mater. I also want to note that I am a part of the illustrious faculty of the FI Department Focus Inquiry at Virginia Commonwealth University. The book I've chosen today is Ghost by Jason Reynolds. For several reasons. Initially, I heard about the book at my Teaching for Black Lives book club, so you can imagine my delight when I saw Ghost was on the book list. I was also delighted to see a list of black authors on the list, as representation is so important when we think about getting people to read, specifically our young people, and seeing authors that look like them. This is a great book for late elementary and middle school students. It was also a National Book Award Finalist for Young People's Literature in 2016. It's a great coming-of-age story about Castle Crenshaw, who prefers to be called Ghost. He's a middle school student who stumbles upon a track team tryout. There he meets some of the greatest teachers about life, from Coach and his teammates who later become his family. According to the National Book Award website, the author Jason Reynolds was asked, who did you write this book for? He replied, I wrote Ghost for all the young people who feel like they're suffocating, who feel like they're gasping for air, exhausted from running for their lives, and sometimes from their lives. It's both for the traumatized and the triumph. Now I'm going to read a portion of Chapter 2 of the book. Chapter 2, the world record for the fastest trial ever. At first I watched through the gate. I was going to keep moving, but then I saw that there were other people down closer to the track, hanging out, watching practice, like moms and stuff. So I joined them. Well, I didn't sit with them because that would have been weird, but I grabbed a seat on one of the other benches. My school didn't have a track team. Not that I would have tried out for it if it did. I was more into basketball. That was my sport, even though I never really played. Sometimes on my walk home, I would stop at the court and see if I could get a pickup game, but no one ever picked me, mainly because the old heads didn't like running with kids my age. But I always had this feeling that if I could just get on, I'd be the next LeBron. But I never wanted to be the next whoever the famous runner is. I never even thought about it. I looked in the world's record book and saw it was some dude named Usain Bolt is the fastest, but I never heard of him. My dad never watched running on TV. Are there even any famous runners? Like, seriously, I never heard of none, but judging from the way these kids were stretching and jumping around on the track, some of them probably had. Okay, let's get some high knees, the coach was commanding. He was short and bald, but I could tell that his baldly didn't come from his hair falling out. He was one of those guys who shaved it. Actually, he was one of those guys who shaved all the hair on his face except his eyebrows, which wasn't a good look. He looked like a turtle with a chipped tooth, wearing a hoop earring and a black whistle around his neck. Up, up, up. There were boys and girls around my age. Everyone was dressed in shorts and t-shirts, holding their arms out in front of them, doing a jump march kind of thing, slapping their knees to their hands. Come on, Sonny. It's only the second day of practice and you're already slacking, the coach barked at the tallest boy out there. He was holding a clipboard and smacked it against his leg. Get him up. I sat with my feet spread apart so I could spit the sunflower seed shells on the ground between them. The salt was making me so thirsty, so I couldn't stop eating them. On the track, the high knee things were followed by jumping jacks and some warm-ups around the track, which seemed to be like a really bad idea. I mean, really, why would you want to run to warm up? You'd be tired before it was time to race, duh. Then all the runners gathered up around the turtle-faced coach. So that was a small portion of Chapter 2 of Ghost by Jason Reynolds. All of the 100 books of the Great American Read are available at your local Richmond Public Library. To be a reader or to find out where the next reading is, visit rvalibrary.org/100days. Clicking on the map and the film icon on the day's listing will take you directly to the YouTube channel for that day. We invite you to join the Facebook group and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Richmond Public Library's 100 Days. Richmond, let's read. Reading is fundamental, and we hear that all the time, but because I teach freshmen at VCU, I've come to recognize the value of reading at a young age. I see a lot of students who come in my classroom, which I create a very inviting and community space, and many of them share how they don't read. And so you can imagine my surprise, we're in this college classroom. But without shame and judgment, what I found with a lot of students, they don't read because they haven't found books that interest them. So often they have to read about these, these Shakespeare and Faulkner and all of these great reads, but many of the students do not connect with them, particularly the students that I teach on a diverse campus at VCU. And so part of why I love this program and allowing students to find things that they like to read, because it gives them depth, it adds perspective. And I'd like to tell my students, so then when you're writing or you're sharing, now you can dig from, or now you can reach from an ocean of knowledge versus a pond or a stream of knowledge. And it gives students and people in general just a chance to get away from home, get away from their everyday status quo. It gives them a chance to venture into places that they never could imagine. For me, I love reading. I started reading at an early age. I always had a book in my hand. Now I have my laptop, which there's always a book on my laptop. And growing up, actually, my dad made my sister and I, well, he didn't make us, we had to go to the library every week, and I read about 10 books a week in the summer. So most people do summer school, I read. And I just know the value. And it also translates to writing, because if people, particularly young people, are able to see themselves in text, they then will be able to write text. They then will be able to interact with text in new and exciting ways. And so reading is so important. And it's also important to balance reading with digital pieces. And so sometimes in my classroom, we'll read a book and then we'll see some sort of digital companion, whether it's a TV show or documentary, and then we'll talk about the different modes and how they intersect with each other.